Welcome to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. This is your podcast for all things hockey. On this podcast, we talk about past history to the modern day and what you can do to grow the sport. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. Okay, everyone. So the Washington Capitals get at least 1 point from their game in Colorado today. Their game with the Avalanche today at Capital One Arena. Yeah, speaking very quickly here. Ovechkin got his 1,000th goal, not in his regular season career, but with playoffs and regular season combined. He had his 1,000th goal. That was pretty cool. Justin Sourdif opens the game with a goal. And what was very interesting about this game was the fact that the Capitals were able to hold off the Avalanche for 40 minutes. Unfortunately, hockey is not played in 40-minute increments or 40 minutes in total. It's played in 60 minutes of a total time regarding overtime and shootouts. So they couldn't get it done. They give up two sloppy goals in the third. I think that, yes, the Avs are good. They will find a way to break you down. There's a reason why they have 102 points now and everything, and why they are have clinched a playoff spot at least. I don't know if anyone's going to catch them. They're number one in the league for a reason. But, the fact that they still got a point out of this, I think is just, still very good at this moment here. But still, you have to take into consideration that this team, it, it's not, it's not unlikely that they get get into the playoffs, but there's still, a slimmer of hope that they could get in, sort of thing. So in the third period, second period was pretty quiet, even though we had backs and forths all the way. The shots were almost even. The Avalanche just had a slight edge of 24 shots this game. The Caps got away with 22 shots. But the Avalanche essentially had a 60% face-off win percentage, and the Caps only went 1 for 5 on the power play. And now they did shut down the Avs power play. I'll give them credit for that. Now, the Avalanche only had 2 opportunities, and that's what you should be doing. But one more power play goal, and this game would have had a different result. It would have probably been a 3-2 regulation win for the Capitals. That didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And it's a shame too. They were blocking shots. I'll give them that, but still nothing. Still, it just was not enough. And I know Colorado is tough. They at least get a point, and they'll still at least have a shot in the standings. We have about 12 more games. Don't quote me on that, but we have just over around 12 games. And honestly, they need to just win out everything at this point. Yeah, it's just looking tough. Now with 41 minutes into the game, Gabriel Landeskog ties it with a snapshot in the very early on in the third period. Necas gets the only assist on that goal. Then Nicholas Waugh, not too far later, at 6:03, gets a goal, and Bardakov gets the assist on it. Nothing too fancy. I just think that, Thompson can only do so much. These are still one of the, it's still one of the best teams and an even deeper core. And when you get down to the lower lines, you can see why they're going to be very likely to win the Stanley Cup this year. And it's essentially, the default winner, Stanley Cup winner of this year. And now the Capitals are just trying to get in at this point. But I think they've fallen off too much, though. Not to be a negative Nelly here. I'm just saying they've fallen off too much. But Logan Thompson still stayed in this, and he still got 22 saves on this night, even though he had to give up 24. No, even though he had 24 shots on net. Brock Nelson, um, very late into the third on the power play, the Capitals finally capitalize on it. Alex Ovechkin gets his 1,000th goal overall from his office, and Dylan Strome and Cole Hudson get the assists, and that is also Cole Hudson's first ever assist in the NHL. Good job, kid. We'll see. I hope you go far, kid. You're gonna go far, kid. Just like that song. So things go back and forth at 0.2 or 0.02 seconds. Um, you know, coach they pull the goaltender, and uh, they pull Thompson and six guys on the ice. Nothing comes of it. Ovechkin was waiting for the face-off win and can't get it off in time. And I think that the Caps should have wanted maybe to just check the clock on that and see if they could get a full second out of it. But no, and that icing call would have still benefited them. Still say I don't think you challenge the time, but you just ask the ref for clarification. Hey, can we check the clock? I do think teams should be allowed to check the clock now that I think of it. Don't know if it was exactly the time, but hey, or I guess when whistles are blown, seconds tick, and things are up in the air. Brock Nelson, very early on in overtime at 82 seconds in, he scores his 32nd goal of the season. Necas gets his 54th assist. Devon Toews gets his 16th assist. And they were pretty much all the way down in the Capital zone. And if you can't get a change in 80 seconds, you're going to wear down, and the Avalanche are going to capitalize on it. And guess what? That's what happened when you don't get fresh legs on the ice in under 60 seconds. You're going to wear down. And that was the big mistake, too. I say if you get that puck and you've been on the ice for 50 seconds, you got to get that down the ice. You have to at least just clear and put it on net, too. Don't take the icing, because if you have the icing, guess what? You still have to be on the ice until you get a proper clear, or you score a goal, or there's an actual stoppage of play, not resulting in an icing. So that's the thing. And I do think that that's what cost them the game more than anything, is the fact that they're on the ice, for 82 seconds. And 82 seconds is a long time in the NHL. I mean, Alex Kovalev back in his day was punished for, had a 5-minute shift, and and it's like, I don't know how he survived a 5-minute shift, even in the 90s. even in 94, that is hard to do. And he wasn't even skating on modern skates. It was so different back then. What a sh but yeah, but Kovalev definitely, deserved to get reamed back in the day, unfortunately, but that's the side note. Okay, so where do we stand here in the standings? Well, 79 points. Capitals do are closing in on the Flyers, though. Um, they are 5 points back of the Red Wings. Boston won yesterday in a very crucial game, deciding on where they're going to be placed in the wild card. So you do have that. Now, Boston, Pavel Zacha, I mean, he's the reason why the Bruins are where they are at this point, and you have 86 points ready to go. The Islanders are the backup team I'm rooting for at this point to just get in. If I don't have the Islanders in there, I will be kind of happy because I'm not going to be disappointed anyway because none of my teams are in there. Not the Rangers, not the Islanders, not the Capitals, not the Panthers, um, not the Panthers. Um, I guess, and I mean, I don't root for the Hurricanes though, but I'm not going to be disappointed anyway. I will have no dog in this fight now. In fact, and I'm not even rooting for the Lightning at this point. Um, so no Panthers, no New York teams, no New York-based city teams, and I guess we would count the Devils in that too. Um, if everything holds today. Columbus has climbed their way back into this, and they are now third in the Metro. Credit all around to Adam Fantilli there, so good right there. So, so right now the Capitals have played 71 games. Uh, so just catching up right there. 71 games, and they have 11 to go. Let's say they win all 11 at that point. That would put them at 101 points. If they win all 11, 2 points for the entire game, they are at 101, I think. Yeah, okay, yeah, 22, 102. Yeah, 101 points, not 111. If I said 111, cross that out. I meant to say 101 points. That's what they would have. The likelihood at that point they get in, it would be about 65%, give or take a few percentage points that they would be in because winning 11 straight is very, very hard to do in the NHL. But if they do that, they're essentially in. Now, Devils are written off, Panthers are written off, Rangers are written off. We have that. And right now, the Capitals are literally the bottom rung of teams that can get in, and they need to be near perfect to get in. Can they do it? Yes. Can Ovechkin step up a little more? Yeah, he absolutely can. Um, on on Monday, actually, good question. What is Monday? On Monday, we just have two teams going at it. Senators and the Rangers. Then on Tuesday, the Caps are at the Blues. And even though the Blues are essentially singing the blues at this point, the Capitals um, should be able to capitalize off of this opportunity. I hope that they don't take anything easy there. Um, Side note, San Jose is also playing the Predators in Nashville at 8 p.m. So you know who I'm rooting for in that. And if the Sharks don't get in, then I really don't have no one to root for at that point. And I actually think I could do a fair analysis on it this as well. So we have that there. Um, Devils there, Golden Knights. Maybe I root for the Ducks if I have to pick someone at that point, but I'm taking the Sharks to win on Tuesday, the Caps to win on Tuesday, March 24th. All good right there. Wednesday, the Capitals are off. Capitals are back on. They will be in Utah. And now there'd still be a little less pressure if they gave up a point to Utah because Utah is not in the Eastern Conference. So so they might play a little more conservative um in Salt Lake City. So I have a weird theory on that one, but I think it makes sense. You don't want to, take too many risks when you're playing out of your conference too. And it's better for you to still just gain a point going to overtime than to lose in regulation. So that's why most teams would want to play more conservatively. They'll be happy to give up a point to their opposite conference opponent if it means they get 2 points and they can still have a lower risk. So my guess is they're going to be risk averse, both the Mammoth and the Capitals. So that's on March 26th, that game. On the 27th, we have Capitals are off. Then on Saturday, we have, where are they? The Capitals in Vegas. 10:30, very late start there. I will not stay up to see that. So we're coming down to the wire here. And and I think that they have to like just put in the work too. Vegas is going to be the toughest one for Washington right now, and I would want to see Alex back in the playoffs one more time, just to, even if they lose all 4 games, because I think it's important for you know for hockey to see the grade A one more time in the playoffs. But if he doesn't make it, that's okay. At this point I know he would just accept it. He'd be like, okay, I've done everything. I've climbed the mountain. I've won a Stanley Cup. I've I have 77 playoff goals. I've done this more times than I've done this pretty much better than most people ever will. I'm ready to hang up the skates and go be a father to my boys. That's probably what he's thinking. And I couldn't blame him because, but I don't know what else we would have. I do think he does want to play, one more round at least of the Stanley Cup playoffs if it's possible. But I want to see how bad he wants it to, and I want to see how bad, young guys like Sortif and Cole Hudson and you know and even Thompson. I want to see how bad they want it. And maybe they do want it bad enough, but we'll see here. I'm still going to root for them. I've got my Washington Nationals stuff on because part of me is like, geez, I want to be ready for baseball at this point. But I'm not giving up on the Capitals. Don't think I'm giving up on the Capitals at all. It's just that I'm about willing to accept reality, but they need to go on a tear at this point. Still, they get away with 1 point, and honestly, I think that this is one of the best. It's still a good team. They're not horrible. They're not like their original selves, the original Washington Capitals. They're not the first inaugural team. This is obviously the bet. This is obviously a good team that just can't break the playoff line because of the tough competition. But hey, you know, in hockey, you see that the competitive level is there. No team is way up here and no team's like way down there. Um, you don't see that. much. It's not in like it's not like with the Rockies last year in baseball, you know, going up against like the Dodgers or something. It's not like that at all because we can see that it was possible that it could have went the other way in this game. The Capital One Arena is going to be very, I don't know if it's going to be busy these playoffs times. And the Wizards and the Capitals, I mean, you could still have plenty of other events there too. But I don't know what we would see out of that at Capital One Center when there's no playoffs for either the Wizards or the Capitals. Maybe the Mystics are there too, and I guess they just would make up the court and it would just be permanent there, and then they melt the ice though. But I'm still this is my hockey team. I'm gonna root for them as best as I can, and I want to see them succeed. This, you know, it's gonna be tough when Ovi leaves too, and I think that he will deserve. He has earned his place in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he'll obviously have to wait a while before he's inaugurated, but he'll get in there almost unanimously, probably unanimously. When you beat Gretzky's goal record, you'll get in. You will get in almost unanimously. But I think that everything has just worked out for the best in the end for DC. Washington DC may not have a lot of sports championships. There's only, but take this into consideration. DC has won a total of only two World Series, one Stanley Cup final, one NBA championship, although that one was in Landover, Maryland back in '78. Um, two World Series, one Stanley Cup, one NBA championship, and I think maybe 4 or 5 Super Bowls. I'm going to check that right now. How many Super Bowls have the since Okay, only 3 championships, 3 Super Bowls as well. But they did have prior championships too, before the Super Bowl era. But still, that's not a lot of championships, and you'd think that with all the history and everything, there'd be more. And it's rare that they even win anything anymore. There has not been an actual Super Bowl win. Let me take this. There has not been an actual Super Bowl win since George H.W. Bush original, was in the White House. They have not. There's not been an actual Super Bowl win since then. And the only 2 other championships were the Nationals and the Capitals as well. Wizards, as the Wizards, never won anything. You know, and it's been a while too. It's been 8 years since the Capitals won the Stanley Cup, and it's been 7 years since the Nationals won. And the Nationals should have not had any, like, they had like a 3% chance to get into the playoffs, and they still found a way to win. They defined all the odds and they still won. And I don't know if we're ever going to see another championship in DC again. The Wizards have never been good in my life, or they've barely, I don't even remember them being truly good, truly like the 2004 Pistons or anything like that. But I do think that the Capitals are going to find a way to get back into the playoffs next year. Probably without Ovechkin, but they're going to need to draft better, and Hudson is going to have to learn more of the ropes in order to get there. But those are my thoughts on that. More of a Washington Capitals focused episode. What do you think of this? Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, If you're on Spotify, rate this 5 stars, write a little review, all that jazz. And the best way to support me is to check out my audiobook, Growing Hockey. That is available on Spotify. If you have Spotify Premium, you can listen to you get to listen to that for a bonus. You don't have to pay anything extra. You don't have to pay the $6 or whatever Spotify's charging now with but you can check out Growing Hockey. You can listen to it, play it all through, um, listen to the end, and I'd really appreciate that because that is how I fund this podcast mostly. Is that it is how I fund my operations, sort of, is that audiobook, you know, and everything. But yeah, simple listen, share that book out, share this podcast, all that jazz. And with that being said, all. I will see you all in the next podcast and the next video. Peace out.